local search SEO is going to drop. You guarantee it.
Yeah.
Hold on. I feel like I just caught up to that statement. Wait, first of all, how do we not? Like how, because I don't want my local search at like my local SEO to drop. I want people to continue to find me locally and to
Right.
know that they have someone in their back pocket here in their little town who will support them with what they're doing.
Google's share is going to start to get smaller and smaller. So if somebody does a search for HVAC contractor near me or HVAC contractor in my city, you're going to get a local search result, which is different. It's a different algorithm. And so people are still overwhelmingly using Google to do those types of searches. But you're starting to see more and more traffic being siphoned away where people are using ChatGPT or Perplexity to do those types of searches instead of using Google. So what that means is the places you need to be found now have just exploded beyond anything that we've ever seen. And part of what's happening is Google is adapting quickly, and Google has adapted AI into the regular Google search. So while people don't necessarily probably go to Gemini to do a search, because it's owned by Google, Google is using Gemini as part of the way that it's delivering search results now.
When it gets to this time of year, I want to go out and talk to people. I've been caged in for way too long during the winter months, and now I want to network. I want to connect. I want to get to know people. But I don't just want to do that in person. I mean, that's fun and all. I want people to find me. I want people around me who I can go and have a coffee with. But how do we do that? How do we use marketing to do that? Well, that's why we have Ken here today. He's going to tell us a little bit about himself, why this topic matters to him, and why it should matter to you, especially this time of year. Ken, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and why does this even matter for people who are close to us to find us, and how do we even approach it?
Yeah. Well, I'm a marketing solution architect. I started my company ChangeScape Web over 20 years ago, and I'm a small business owner too. So because of that, before that I worked on large DoD and government contracts in the information technology world, and I traveled all over the United States. I didn't have any local customers. I'd never worked in the local economy. So when I started my company, it was a real eye opener, and honestly, it was extremely fun. It was a challenge because I was like, "Are you kidding me? We can make a living doing that? Really?" I had no idea. I just had no exposure to that. I found over the years that a lot of people, get bad marketing advice, and it breaks my heart. And look, I'm probably guilty of that too, not intentionally. But sometimes, no matter how hard we try, we just can't provide the right answers. But I really do love helping people. I love educating. I want to make sure that they make good informed decisions, not to the point where they have to become marketing experts, but they need to know enough to know if they're being, taken advantage of or not. And my biggest frustration is probably that a lot of people out there sell solutions like they're tool vendors, really, where it's really good for them, but it's not the right thing for the person that they're selling it to. And it just breaks my heart when I see that happen, and it happens all the time, sadly. So being found locally is really the thing that most local businesses care about the most. If somebody is looking for a restaurant nearby, or they're looking for a plumber to come and service their home, or they're looking for a real estate agent, how do they do that? Well, historically, it's been they go to a search engine like Google, and they do a search, and they find somebody either on the Google Maps results or in the organic listings or through paid ads. And so there are ways that you can spend a lot of money and waste a lot of money trying to do that, and most people don't have an appreciation of how much that actually can cost. Uh,
Mm.
so and a lot of people are told to do certain things, so they're just throwing stuff like at a wall, but without really a purpose. So from that perspective, that's why I care. It's something that I live and breathe this stuff. I love it, and I work hard to stay up to date with it.
Well, and I think that's the crux of it all, right? Like, there are two things happening here. Like talking about local SEO, which I want to get into in a moment, but then also this idea that like you need to stay up to date.
Yeah,
Everyone in this space, if you're an entrepreneur, you've got to stay. In fact, you've got to stay ahead of the curve.
that's right.
If you resist the evolution of the marketing world and the technological world in which we live, you're going to be left behind.
Yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
challenging because, as you say, no matter whether you've got the best morals and ethics in the world and you're giving the best advice to your knowledge, things are always changing.
Right,
And so
absolutely.
you need to be able to think critically for yourself, and you need to be able to be ethical enough to teach your clients to think critically about what they're being told, what's going
Right,
to work for you, what's not, what's going to change in the next little bit that you may or may not know about. All of these variables matter.
right.
But I think something that you mentioned about the local SEO was really interesting to me because you listed things like restaurants and plumbing and realtors, which are very location specific.
Hmm.
And when I think about some of the things that I'm doing, I literally started my business previous to COVID. It was global right away. I had people in New Zealand, in Germany, and like all over the world. It was beautiful. Um, and it was lonely. It was very lonely. The nature
Yeah,
of my business was such that I was able to expand quickly, which benefited me during COVID. Don't get me wrong. Uh, but I missed that taking my client out for coffee or meeting with what one of my friends calls a frolic, somebody who's a friend and a colleague, right? And just
right,
saying, hey, you know what? Today was a long day. Or maybe, yesterday was a long day and today's another long day, but I can do all of the work that I need to do at the local Starbucks or Tim Hortons or whatever your local coffee shop is.
right.
Can you meet me there?
Yeah.
That's a huge, huge difference. And having that local SEO helps you to network. It helps you to
Mhm.
connect. And then you start supporting local businesses as well.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
how do you like that's just for me personally, that's one of my huge benefits of making sure that your local SEO is top notch. So I
Yeah.
have two questions. The first one is, how do you see that impacting all businesses, not just location specific businesses? That's the first one. And the second one is, how do we optimize for local SEO in a way that's actually going to be impactful for you, depending on your marketing goal, which, as I just described, could be lead generation or even networking collaborations. So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think every business, first of all, the only property that you really truly own, or at least you should own, unfortunately not always set up that way, but you should own your website.
mm,
You don't control Facebook. You don't control your Google business profile. You don't control TikTok or Instagram or anything else. You're completely at the mercy of what they're going to decide to do. So own your website and make sure that it's clear, it communicates, and it focuses on the problems that your customers, clients, or patients have. And be very clear about it. The statistics are, I think, less than 80% of people yeah, let's see, how do I say this? 80% of people do not scroll when they land on your homepage.
mm,
If you don't say what it is that you do, if you don't have your phone number at the top of that page and you want phone calls, guess what? You're not going to get them. So step one is you've got to have that clear message. Without that, you could do all the local SEO that you want in the world, and it's probably not going to help you very much. Now, so I think it pertains to every business that that wants to connect with people in a local market. I don't do a lot of work with people who I do work with people who do regional or national, but I don't do a lot with international. But again, I think it's just absolutely critical. So how do you do it? Well, today It's faster paced than it's ever been because of AI. And the reality
Mhm.
is, AI is driving everything. The pace of change, what needs to be done, is changing faster than it has the entire time that I've ever been in this business. So all of the traditional stuff that you used to have to do for local SEO is still very important. And if you were working with somebody who had those good foundational things, that's great. But now you need to add some extra stuff on top of that. Yelp profiles and Bing places all of a sudden have become as important as Google business profile because ChatGPT and Perplexity are using them as sources for the local data, not Google business profile.
It's crazy how so we're looking at SEO and oh, do you recall that there's a new term for SEO that I just lost?
Well,
Um,
I generally say AEO. Some people also talk about GEO, but AEO is answer engine optimization. And that's really what the large language models, and this includes Google search now, they expect information in a question answer basis. Now
right.
that's worked very well for Google for a long time because if you wanted to show up in the knowledge panel, you wanted to have your information structured on your website as questions and answers so that maybe Google would show you when somebody was doing those questions and answers.
Mm,
Now, with the AI overviews, we're not seeing Google search traffic drop substantially for local businesses yet, or click-through rates, I should say. That's going to be coming, I guarantee it. What's happening right now is I always use Brad Pitt. How old is Brad Pitt? If you go do that type of a search, you're going to get an AI overview. You're going to read the information that you want and that you need, and you're not going to click through to any other website to go see what that information is because it was
right,
summarized for you.
right.
And so if you're in the information providing business, you're losing traffic in a huge way. With
So
Yeah,
hold on. I'm like I feel like I'm processing and thinking at the same time. And you said something that just clicked in my brain, and I feel like I probably could have shouted about it when you first local local search SEO is going to drop. You guarantee it.
yeah,
Hold on. I feel like I just caught up to that statement. Wait, first of all, tell me about that. Broad reaching. Also, how do we not like how because I don't want my local search like my local SEO to drop. I want people to continue to find me locally and to
right,
know that they have someone in their back pocket here in their little town who will support them with what they're doing.
yeah. So what I mean by that is Google's share is going to start to get smaller and smaller. It already has started to get smaller and smaller. So if somebody does a search for, HVAC contractor near me or HVAC contractor in my city, you're going to get a local search result, which is different. It's a different algorithm. And so people are still overwhelmingly using Google to do those types of searches. But you're starting to see more and more traffic being siphoned away where people are using ChatGPT or Perplexity to do those types of searches instead of using Google. So
Mhm.
what that means is you've got you now the places you need to be found now have just exploded beyond anything that we've ever seen. And while Google is absolutely the dominant player, still 90% of all local searches are probably happening on Google. And 60 to 70% of all clicks or phone calls are happening if you're fortunate to be on the Google Maps results. That's changing, and part of what's happening is Google is adapting quickly, and Google
Mhm.
has adapted AI into the regular Google search. So while people don't necessarily probably go to Gemini to do a search because it's owned by Google, Google is using Gemini as part of the way that it's delivering search results now. So
So
structuring your information, having schema markup on your website, always been a big deal, much more important than it's ever been. That tells the search engines and the large language models, the AI tools, if you will, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, whatnot, how to crawl your website and understand and digest that content in a very efficient way. And so you need to do that. You need to be found, and you need to have your data consistent across the board. You need to have really strong, high quality reviews coming in on a regular basis, because reviews have a half-life, that degrades pretty quickly. Now, for different industries, it's different. I mean, for you and I, as marketing people, we don't get a massive volume of Google reviews coming in, or Yelp reviews, whatever. But if you're a restaurant and you're not getting fresh new reviews coming in on a daily basis and responding to every one of those reviews, you're missing a huge opportunity.
Your
So
relevancy goes down, right?
what's that?
Your relevancy goes down,
Oh,
and that's a huge part of SEO.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
So, doing the right things are still important. It's just you have to do more of them, and you have to do them faster than you've ever had to.
That was my next question, was going to be your opinion on, one of the things that I really like to preach to my clients, because it can be very challenging, is to pick a platform, stick with it, really do the one thing right. But what I'm hearing from you, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that it actually might be advantageous to be a little more diversified than that when it comes to SEO, if that is a priority within your marketing strategy.
That's right. Yeah, I think so. And, just overall visibility. I mean, SEO, people still probably think of SEO more like, search results, where you're going to Google search. Really it's more about overall visibility. The explosion and importance of portrait style video is a great thing that's happening right now, because traditionally there were two ways you could be found, either through search or by building followers who would connect with you on social media platforms.
Right.
With TikTok, it changed the game. It changed the algorithm. And so YouTube adapted, Instagram's adapted, Facebook's adapted, to where now the content that is being delivered for short form video is basically for you, based on what the algorithms know about you, the content you like and want to consume. And so there's a new element of discovery there. So you don't necessarily have to do, massive amounts of content, put it on your website, optimize that for search, to increase your visibility. You can, choose to take a channel where you're trying to build, a very robust YouTube channel driven by shorts, or TikTok. Generally, I mean, for lifestyle businesses, that's probably better, but for, B2B businesses, TikTok's not going to really play. But Instagram is still an important channel. And I would say Instagram has probably become more important for most business use than Facebook.
Yeah, actually, Facebook, it's funny that you say that, because I was thinking about that with one of the clients that I have. They were talking about their Facebook presence and how they wanted to do XYZ with it. And I said, you know what? Don't get me wrong. I've been using Facebook for a long time, but its usefulness for businesses is declining and sporadic. I feel like just the way people perceive things within that space. I'm not saying don't use it. Of course, if you're on there, leverage it and do what you need to do. But I just feel like it is more difficult to create the types of results more difficult to create the results now than it was a number of years ago.
By far. Well, and, Mari Smith pointed out a couple of weeks ago that Facebook is, they're pushing verified profiles really hard right now. And what they're doing is, if you don't get a verified profile, you can only share a certain number of external links off of Facebook per month throughout your total number of posts. So what does that say? It says very much Facebook is a pay-to-play environment. If you want your content to be found off of Facebook, you have to pay Facebook. And you pay it through...
Not surprising to any of us, I'm sure.
No, but that's... it's like in the early days of social media, it's like, oh, great, I can post this on Facebook. There's a link to my website. People will go find me on my website. And they were doing that. And that doesn't happen anymore, because Facebook won't show that content. It
No,
will
the
prioritize.
algorithm really knocks you down.
Yeah.
And that's all a part of this SEO. That's all a part of not just local, but just like broad reaching, because they use keywords, they use SEO within it. Facebook is using AI and SEO. And you, if you're not going to be able to learn about it and leverage it in a strategic way, you're going to be left behind. I
Yeah.
feel like we've gone full circle, and it's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Now, that said, I know that we were talking about a variety of ways we could leverage this for conversion. Things like we discussed speed to lead.
Yeah.
Is there a way now, and maybe there's not, so feel me out here, is there a way for you to give a concise action oriented speed to lead gold nugget, so to speak, for the people who have joined us for this conversation? Because if there is, then I want to invite you to do that in a moment. Is there? Are we good, or am I asking too much?
Yeah, no, I think there is.
Okay, excellent. Because I know sometimes it's like, oh, I'm going to ask you to describe this concept that will take me, 3 hours to present it in a workshop. And I'm giving you 2 minutes. Have fun. But okay, that's really great. So think about how you want to structure that, because in the meantime, I want to let everybody know that these real conversations grounded in reality and our day-to-day life, they happen every week. Ken is just one of many people who want to support you in all that you're doing in a way that is grounded and creates traction for your business, allows you to grow and thrive, not just for your business, but for your life as well. Because I'm not here for the burnout. I know Ken's not here for the burnout. We're here just to live our best lives while growing our business. So make sure that you subscribe, make sure that you leave a comment and like the video, because Ken and I are going to respond with the best answer we can provide to you and give you the resources necessary for you to take the next action step. With that, I'm going to get off my soapbox and give you the stage. Tell the people what they need to hear, Ken.
All right. Well, a lot of people aren't going to like it, but using AI phone systems and an AI chatbot on your website are, by the end of 2026, if not the beginning of 2026, are going to be paramount for survival, I think, for many small businesses. You've got to be the first to respond. We live in a world where nobody has any patience anymore. Just think about your own behavior. If you want to go watch Netflix, do you pay extra to avoid commercials or Prime or whatever? You probably are doing that because you have no patience anymore. People need their busy lives. Life seems harder and is a bigger grind right now. People want their problems solved, and the best way to do that is to be the first to respond, to help them answer their question and nurture them to the point where they're taking action, getting booked on your calendar. And so they can check that off their list. They can go on and move on the next day. If you're not doing that, people are going to keep going down the search results and contacting the next business that's there. Statistics are overwhelming. I mean, if you don't believe me, just Google importance of speed to lead. Tell me the top 20 statistics of speed to lead. And if your eyes aren't just blown away, if you're not wide open to that, I'll be stunned. So, and the thing is, AI phone systems, they're so much better than those obnoxious phone trees that you have to listen to and wait to get 10 minutes before you can connect to somebody, because it's conversational and it's a real voice. So don't assume that it's not good. It's an essential thing, and it's a relatively low cost investment. If you're working hard to generate traffic and build your followers and people to come to your website, the last thing you want to do is leak those leads away.
Absolutely. And this is where a lot of times when I'm talking to prospects and clients and just my audience in general, I talk about the gaps and clogs in your funnel. And this is a very clear gap for a lot of people. You are losing leads. You are losing money.
Absolutely.
For what? For what?
Yeah.
For not just having a quick and simple automation on your website? Let's go. Now, tell us a little bit more about the traffic, though, because I think that's a really important part, and you actually have a resource to support people with that.
Yeah. So right now, the most important thing that you can do if you're wanting to be found when people are doing searches by, traditional Google search or AI search engines, is to get your content broadcast across omni-channels, multiple channels. It's hard to do, but the great thing is with content repurposing tools, you can create one piece of content and you can repurpose that in different formats, as a slideshow, as an infographic, as a short form video, long form video, podcast, blog post, press release, and distribute that across authority websites that build brand mentions, because brand mentions are becoming the new gold standard as opposed to traditional inbound links from other websites. Now, inbound links are still very important, and you'll get those in this strategy as well. But having your brand mentioned across a variety of platforms just builds trust. And the more you have, the broader you have, it's going to increase your exposure. We're in a federated world where everything has been, spread apart right now because of AI. And so you need to be found wherever people are looking for you.
Mic drop. And if you want more information about that, you need to check out this QR code and the link in the show notes today, because Ken has some pretty amazing resources to support you with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, that said, I am going to remind all of you that this type of conversation not only happens every week, but we offer a lot of bonuses around here. We want you to succeed. So take advantage of this offer from Ken, and make sure that you check out the links in the show notes from me, because I've got resources, freebies, and discounts galore for a lot of resources that I make use of. These are not necessarily things that are making me money. Like, I'm not selling this to you. I'm offering this resource to you because I use it, and you darn well should too. So take a look at that, take advantage of it, and let's make your business run like a well-oiled machine so that your life can feel easy peasy, especially as we're heading into this beautiful spring season.
Yeah.
With that, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Ken, thank you so much for having this conversation with me. We will chat soon. See you later.